I, 34 male, am married to my wife, 35. I've always struggled with my weight growing up. My parents passed away when I was a little kid and my aunt took care of me. She had a very high demanding job and would feed me fast and junk food. When I went to high school, I weighed over 200 pounds, and after graduation I was at 250. In my senior year of college, I weighed about 350 pounds and decided to change. After I graduated, I decided to work on myself and become healthier. I lost about 100 pounds and gained some of it back when my aunt passed away. When I met my wife, I weighed about 275 and was unhappy with my size. My wife loves to cook large portions of food and didn't see any problems with my weight. I decided to pursue a bariatric surgeon in 2020 and got the surgery a year later. My stomach is smaller and it keeps me from overeating. I'm slowly losing weight as I eat broth and small amounts of cottage cheese. I haven't been able to eat protein or fish yet as it makes me sick. My in-laws and I don't have the strongest relationship as they met me when I was still very big. They always thought my wife could do better and would tell me that I was lucky that she settled for me. My wife got a huge promotion in her job and her parents wanted to take us out for dinner to her favourite steakhouse. Knowing I couldn't eat a ton, I ordered a cup of soup and water. My in-laws gave me a look and insisted that I order a steak entree. I told them that I couldn't eat meat yet, which made me sick. I went to use the bathroom and was surprised to see a steak entree being delivered to me. My wife whispered to me to take a few bites to please her parents. I told her that I wouldn't eat something that I didn't want to and watched as everyone finished their meals. There was a ton of awkward silence and father-in-law was quite angry that I didn't even try the dish. My wife is hurt and thinks I should have just eaten the meal to keep the peace. Am I the idiot for not eating the dinner my in-laws insisted I order? Not the idiot. You have a special diet. You've had weight loss surgery. You have to care for your stomach and eat a doctor-monitored diet as instructed. They don't get to guilt you into hurting yourself. Everyone sucks except you. Right? Make yourself sick so my parents won't be offended. His wife is the biggest idiot. It would have been easier for everyone not to be offended if they let OP order and eat whatever he wanted. OP, I applaud you for standing your ground, but it is hard when the in-laws treat you like crap and try to walk all over you. Not the idiot. Why are they sabotaging you? This is a serious question, and it will determine your future health and future of your marriage. Don't let anyone blow it off as a small disagreement. The fact that they ordered something knowing that it would make you sick and that your wife asked you to do it, and hopefully she also knows that it would make you sick, is incredibly concerning. Was your wife supportive of your surgery? Has she tried to sabotage you or hurt you in any other way? Jesus, I'm concerned about your wife's attitude here. She isn't ready to be a wife with this belief structure. She's still trying to win mommy and daddy's love by letting them walk through boundaries to show them what a good child she is, and she expects you to do the same. It's codependent and probably needs therapy to address. You are the idiot. Sorry, while you're in the right concerning what you ordered, would it have truly killed you just to eat 2 or 3 small bites to satisfy the in-laws and take the rest home for later? Is this the issue you want to die upon the hill for? Take a bite, talk about how good it was, and then ask for a to-go box. My 30 female husband, 30, is the main breadwinner in our home. We don't have any kids, but I make sure to keep up on errands, cleaning, making some money on my side business, etc. Unfortunately, I have a rather crippling physical disability that makes it hard to maintain a job. I ended up quitting my old job due to running out of FMLA. I haven't appreciated his attitude in the last couple of weeks. He's been getting shorter with me when asking questions and when trying to coach him on how to do things correctly. Usually I would say something like, "Hey, you forgot to pay me back that $10 I lent you," and he would just say, "Whoops, sorry about that," and send me the money on Cash App or PayPal. He just started a new work-from-home job in December, and they just started something he calls the quarterly software deployment, which is apparently a huge thing. Well, he's been responding more shortly to my inquiries. I ask him if he took the trash out or if he remembered X or Y, and he'll just say, "Okay," incredibly dully, and then do the task in silence. I'm used to a more upbeat response, and I'm starting to feel like a burden with these short responses. This morning, it all came to a head when I noticed my ice cream was in the refrigerator and fully melted. I told him he could have a bowl earlier in the day, and it seems he put it in the wrong place. So I talked to him in his office and let him know he needed to be more careful, and I asked when he would be going out to get more ice cream. Oh boy, he blew up on me. I've never seen him like this before. He started crying and screaming, not at me directly, just in general, and said something like, "Just take my debit card and get yourself some more ice cream. Get yourself a new Ferrari if you want to, just take it." I was scared and drove off to cool down. I sent him a text letting him know I expected an apology. Am I the idiot? Edit. He told me 3 weeks ago he's withdrawing from something called Lexo. I think that's what it was called. It's something his psychiatrist prescribed, and he had to go off of it for a while since he was fired from his old job and lost his insurance. We had so much other debt we decided to make do with what we had. I need some important medicines for my disability. We prioritized getting me my medication during the insurance lap. Keep reading your own post and you'll see you are the idiot. You guys are in a marriage, yet you're using words like inquire and coach. Are you permitting him to have some ice cream? You lend him money and press him over $10? This relationship sounds professional, platonic at best. The worst part is, she lent him his own money. In another comment, she says her husband sends a percentage of his paycheck to her account when he gets paid. So he bought the ice cream and initially gave her the $10 from my understanding. Her husband is the sole provider. No wonder he's feeling so deeply taken advantage of, because he is. Yeah, it sounds like he had a mental break because of all the stress of supporting you and having a brand new job. It's probably beyond stressful to be the sole breadwinner and support another adult who relentlessly nags and lectures you on basic household tasks. To top it off, he recently gave up his antidepressants, yet continues to pay for your medications. I'm surprised this guy hasn't snapped before now. You are the idiot. You don't even know what meds your husband is on. I hope it wasn't Lexapro. This man sounds like he's been living one stressful life, and you only care about being petty and going for tit-to-tat about stupid crap. Ice cream? He needs help. That man is fighting for his life and his livelihood to keep you all fed, and you come in to pester or berate him about ice cream. Do you want to continue being married? Once he gets his mental health together, if you haven't found a supportive bone in your body, I hope he leaves. My female 30 and my husband 32 have a toddler together. Our property has no fence. I was inside, my husband was sitting on the porch watching our son, and our son was playing on the lawn. All of a sudden, I heard my kid wailing and I rushed outside. He'd fallen and scraped his knee. I saw my husband head over before me, which makes sense because he was closer than I, but he fainted when he squatted down to help. The exact timing is unclear. I don't know if he squatted and then fainted or fainted mid-squat. I just know he was passed out on the grass by the time I got there. My husband is squeamish. He doesn't like gore and blood makes him uncomfortable. I knew this when we dated and I knew it when we married. He's fainted before. We dated in college and he fainted, and he usually comes to shortly after. We've been together 10 years and I've seen him faint maybe 3 times, including this instance. Anyway, he passed out on the grass and my son was still screaming, so I picked him up and carried him inside. When I was dressing his wound, my husband came in a couple of minutes later, angry that I left him unconscious and unattended on our lawn. We don't live in a dangerous neighbourhood, we're friends with our neighbours. He was dressed for the weather because he was sitting on the porch outside anyway, and we live in an area where the climate doesn't fluctuate too much, so I didn't feel there was a risk of hypothermia or heat stroke. It was maybe 70 degrees and clear, which is why we let our son play outside. It only takes a couple of minutes to dress my son's wound and kiss it better, so I would have checked on my husband shortly after, but my husband says I should never leave someone unconscious and unattended. I agree with this point generally, but if only 2 of us are present and our son is hurt, I don't see the big deal. He thinks I should have left our son with him while I go inside to get the bandages and dress his wound on the lawn, or take my son inside, get the bandages, and bring him back out to dress his wound on the lawn. I guess the last idea makes sense, but as a mom with a crying kid, I didn't think about it that deeply. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. I don't think you should leave someone unconscious unattended, even if it's for just a couple of minutes. That's long enough for the tongue to block their airways, and any more than 1 minute of being out is dangerous, and it could have been a heart attack or something more serious. It would be best if you'd revived him first, as the scraped knee isn't as risky a situation. It was just a scraped knee. How the heck is that serious enough to ignore an unconscious stranger over, let alone your spouse? The scraped knee is just another day for any but the most sedentary of kids. Not to back in my days kids were tougher nonsense, but this is babying your kid too much. I'm kind of mixed on this. If my husband fainted at the sight of blood to the point a cut did him in, I would remove the kid first before trying to wake him up. Otherwise, he'll just faint again and I'll still have a screaming toddler and a fainted husband. So I really feel like OP is in a no-win situation here. Disagree. I'm telling you this as someone with first aid. You failed your husband. You didn't check if he had a pulse and didn't call for help. You assumed he just fainted at the sight of blood. Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. He still could have hit his head. As a mother myself, I get you wanted to take care of your child and stop their crying, but it does not override the fact you left someone in a vulnerable state. The best advice is to take a first aid course if you don't know what is best to do. My son Ben, 22, came out as bi a couple of years ago. Most of our family accepted him. Although I know he disliked some of our actions when he came out, we're still in contact with family or friends who didn't accept him, we tried to be as supportive as possible. And a bit after he came out, he introduced us to his boyfriend. He was a really sweet guy and loved our son. However, about a year ago, some rumours, apparently spread by my other son James, 24, said he used to be a woman. We didn't believe it, but eventually Ben confirmed that his boyfriend was trans, and I admit it was quite shocking and hard to process. This also kind of ruined the relationship between our sons. Now to the problem itself. Yesterday, we decided to have a small gathering with the four of us, my wife and our two sons. We ate a delicious meal, we talked a lot in general, we were having a good time. I could tell there was some tension between our sons, but I thought they could handle it. Then I decided to ask Ben, what is his boyfriend doing now? To which James replied, yeah, what is she doing? This immediately angered Ben, so they started insulting each other. Luckily, I managed to change the subject and tell them to calm down before starting an actual fight. After James left, Ben confronted me about this. He was angry that I didn't defend him or at least say something to James. Now, I agree that what James said was rude, but Ben insulted his brother and worsened the situation, so I don't think it would have been right for me to defend or pick a side. But he didn't see it that way. He told me that either you do something or I won't visit again, which hurts me a lot. Since then, I haven't talked to either of them directly, but apparently the rest of our family is choosing sides. Ben is still very angry at me, and although I understand why he was angry at his brother, I think he's being unreasonable with me. Am I the idiot? OP, you're raising one of your sons to be a disrespectful little idiot who starts fights due to bigotry, and for what? What purpose did any of that serve, save for causing a problem? Discipline your kid, or else don't act surprised when Ben tosses you all out of his life, which he'd be completely right to do. You are not supporting him whatsoever, and you're hand-waving away James's awful behaviour because you just don't want to deal with it. You're a parent, start acting like it. You are the idiot. If you are neutral in situations of injustice, you have chosen the side of the oppressor. It's amazing how OP acts like the whole thing has nothing to do with them, and the whole thing happens in their own house between the children they raised. They even see themselves as an innocent victim. This utter lack of self-awareness and refusal to take responsibility is quite something, even from an idiot. Oh, and let's not forget she only thinks the comment James made was rude rather than wrong, and believes it's Ben's fault for the escalation. OP holds the same awful views as her bigoted son. You are the idiot and a terrible parent. You picked a side, and you act like you think you're neutral. Stop lying to yourself. OP, James spewed hate speech at your son at your dinner table. That is why the argument started. Ben was reacting to being bullied by your son James, and you said nothing. Worse, your obvious phobia encouraged you to point the blame at Ben instead. Ben and his boyfriend deserve so much better than you and your wretched family. I hope he protects himself and goes no contact. I've learned that's the only way to go with folks that revel in their phobias. My husband, 46, and I, 37 female, run a pension guest house in the mountainous region. The global issue really hit our business hard, so we've had to rely on our other jobs. I'm a math high school teacher and my husband is a forest ranger and runs his own firewood woodworking business. We also have a son, tween, and a daughter, younger, to take care of. In 2019, this American woman, 34, and her husband, 37, stayed at our pension for a week. We became friends because we had a lot of things in common. My husband and I even volunteered to be their guides around. We kept in touch through social media after they left. In the fall of 2021, they divorced. The wife was devastated and I was there and supported her through all of it because we're quite close. Recently, she said that she wanted to come and visit me. She misses this place and my family a lot. I said she's more than welcome to do that, but I'd really appreciate it if she'd pay for her accommodation because times in the tourism industry are very tough these days. Running a guest house is pretty costly. She got kind of angry at me and said that friends should do each other favours, that I shouldn't be so demanding since I'm aware she's suffering, that she thought we were way closer than this, etc. I told her that she's exaggerating since the price of a room is not a fortune, about $60 per night, especially from someone with a country with high salaries. She called me greedy and said it's not about the money but about the gesture. We haven't talked after this conversation anymore, so am I the idiot? Not the idiot, and the only idiot here is the woman who presumes you owe her a free stay. You're running a business, not a charity. She sounds like a jerk. What favours has she done for you to expect one like this? She's a user. Forget her. Not the idiot, but your friend is. Is it really worth keeping this so-called friend? She thinks she's the only one suffering. OMG, she has no empathy for anyone and thinks the world revolves around her. She can afford the airfare to get there, she should be able to pay for the accommodations. Instead, she's looking for a freebie. If OP owned a clothing store, would the woman feel entitled to free clothes? I'll bet she's not hurting for money because otherwise she couldn't afford the plane fare also. Stick to your guns, don't let anyone push you around. Friends don't take advantage of other friends. Entitled people, however, always try.